Ew. Alright guys, so everyone who thinks being a landlord's so great, you're just collecting cash, no problems ever. It's not the case. It usually goes one or two ways. People either think that landlords don't have to do any work and they just collect money and they're just these worthless pieces of crap, horrible human beings, or they think that it's a terrible thing and they can't imagine ever doing it themselves because they don't want to be woken up at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night to fix a clogged toilet. I'd honestly say it's somewhere in between. It also just depends on how good of a landlord you are. I am not a slumlord. This is one of my oldest units that I own, but it is in tip-top shape. I'm not going to go around showing it to you because this is a currently occupied unit. It'll probably be years before I actually get to like modernize this one. I did the one on the other side. This is a triplex, but I did one, it's like a 2-level. 1 and 2 split are the exact same layout, and then the whole top has the whole length of the building. But this in particular unit is rented by somebody who was here when I bought the place, and they'll probably be here for a while. They are an incredible tenant. They pay every month, about 3 days early, on time, like clockwork. So I love it, and I'm always willing to help without, any fuss when something goes wrong. And something went wrong. Something so simple, you would just never even believe it. So some of you guys are gonna say I'm crazy because you're gonna say I didn't look hard enough, or I wasn't looking for the right thing. But this unit right here, perfectly fine. I mean, honestly, this thing's probably pretty old, but it was working perfectly fine, and I've had this place for a while, no issues. I thought it was gonna be a quick fix. A very common thing that happens is your thermocouple will go out on a hot water heater. So this thing will stay lit for about a day or two, and then it just kind of fizzles out and the flame goes away, the pilot's gone, etc. So I have to come over here and reset it. I had to do that about 2 times for them, and then eventually I was like, okay, clearly this is a problem. Let's get it fixed. So any other hot water heater ever has had a very universal thermocouple thread. This is the one I started to replace, but turns out that underneath of there, this right here going in is a left-handed thread, and this is a right, which is the universal fit. So it turns out, long story short, Whirlpool made a left-handed thread thermocouple. It was such a big ordeal, they actually got sued, and then they stopped making them, discontinued them. For the longest time, you could actually get a kit to replace this whole thing down here to update it to be the right-handed thread, the adapter. They no longer make this. So this tells me, first off, I guess I could just look to see how old this thing is, but I'm too focused on this right now. But essentially, they don't make this. The thermocouples, I looked all over. Can't even really get a good one ordered, and even then I'm afraid that I'll order it, put this in, and it'll only last for so long. There's little adapters you can find too, but they're kind of far between. I went to every plumbing store in town, every warehouse that would have these, and then I went to all your typical box office stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, all of those. Nobody has it. So long story short, I'm tired of it. The other thing I could do is essentially replace this whole thing, replace this, but at the end of the day, I'm not even gonna go through that trouble because I can actually buy a whole hot water heater from an overstock store for about $300 to $400, and this piece right here to just get replaced at the trouble of just going through that, it's just worth replacing this. So I actually did pick up a whole new hot water heater, and it is about a $700 hot water heater, but I got it from an overstock store that basically, it has a couple dings and dents in it, but otherwise it's in perfectly good condition. Whoever installed this thing was kind of thinking ahead, which I love, because these are all adjustable. They're like the shark bite style, and then they even took the time to put an adjustable gas line on here as well. So at the end of the day, it should be as simple as coming down with the old one, setting it here, moving this one out of the way after we take off a few pieces, and then hooking it up, draining this one, and taking it out. Kind of a pain in the butt, but if this is the worst thing I have this month with all my rentals, I think we'll be okay, as long as this goes as easy as I'm discussing it now. All right, so first off, we make sure the gas is turned off. It's been turned off since yesterday, so we shouldn't have any issues. After that, I'm gonna disassemble this piece, and then I'm gonna have to turn off the water so I can disassemble these here as well. The cool thing about this is, if you guys follow the channel, you know I have a dumpster business, and until this year I used to do all of this stuff myself. I would run a dumpster business, worry about my rentals, do all of it once, and it was kind of a hassle. But now I actually have somebody working for me, and so right now nothing's on pause. Right now I'm taking care of, you know, a quick repair, and the dumpsters are still getting run, so I'm not turning away business or putting off my tenants simultaneously. So it is super convenient when you can actually multitask like this, and, you know, the ball's not being dropped. So I'm gonna get this knocked out while Keegan, my driver, is out running dumpsters. So I'm not, you know, spending my whole day spending money. You know, I'm making a little bit too. The most nerve-wracking part about anything utility-wise that runs on gas is, as soon as you unplug this, there is a little bit of buildup of gas. So you definitely smell, oh yeah, you definitely smell the gas that kind of fell out of here. And it is just kind of like one of those things that's so unsettling every time I smell it, because you're like, ooh, did I turn it off? Is my seal bad over here? But the smell kind of dissipated. But when you first take that off, it'll sometimes get you to go, ooh, that's not good. But in this case, we're good. It smells like it's kind of stopped. I'm sure my buddy who's coming over will smell it a little bit when he helps me carry this down. He's probably, the first thing he's gonna ask is, did you turn it off? But otherwise, I think we're good. Now we're gonna find the water that runs straight to this. So we got one here, so we're gonna turn that bad boy off. Get that one off. And there's actually two here, so it looks like it's diverted a little bit in one spot. So carefully turn this off. There, and then there's one more right here. So we'll get all of these off so that when I take that hose off, we don't just have water going absolutely everywhere. Ooh, that one didn't want to close. I'm super lucky too that this basement actually has a drain literally right next to the hot water heater. I've been in some basements that have these things full. I mean, you're talking 30 to 50 gallons. They're huge. And then they don't have a drain. So you're kind of put in a tight spot there where, like, what do? You have to usually vacuum pump the water out through like a window over there. And it's a huge pain. But what I'm going to do is basically just open it up and let it drain. I'll probably set it over there so I can still get that other one installed. I hope that drain's not plugged, because I had to break off the nozzle to actually drain this thing. So hopefully that eventually goes down, or we're going to have like 30 or 40 gallons of water just sitting here. But I smashed this with a hammer so it actually break off, because all this buildup came and blocked it. It looked like your girlfriend puking on, you know, her bachelorette party, but pretty gnarly. Ew. So here's the new one that I jimmy rigged onto the back of the truck. But you see, it's got a couple dents in it. This is actually the cleanest. They had like 50 of them there, and I just picked the least dented one. But it's about a $700 hot water heater, and well, I got it for about 350 bucks. So I say that's a win, as long as it works. And you ready to help me load this thing?
No, that's all you need me for.
Yeah, it is. It's almost done, and we got the new one down here pretty quick, down the steepest set of stairs I've ever seen, but we've almost got it. So a clear height difference. 30 gallon, 40 gallon. But luckily, like I said, somebody has been a landlord a long time and was thinking ahead, knowing that these will come in handy every time they need to put in a new one. So hopefully that works, because I didn't do any research, I just grabbed one. So this is what happens when you get in a hurry and you just start buying things. A couple things happened. So obviously this one's taller. It was the only one, or the only height available at the overstock place. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to be able to make it work. So this bad boy's hooked up now. I didn't use the shorter ones that I just bought, but I used the old ones. I'm going to get longer ones, because the issue is they're just too tall. I can actually just cut this too and make this all fit better, which is probably what I'll come back and do. But the tenant's been without hot water for a day, and I just want them to have it, because there's a little bit of a kink here, you see, and I want to get rid of that. So I don't want there to be a kink in this. This will get ruined sooner, or honestly just the water pressure will be terrible. There's a really bad kink here, so that's a problem. So this vent was also just a tad bit too long, so what I ended up doing was I whipped out a pocket knife and I cut the old one, and I'm gonna go get some like that thermal tape or vent tape, you guys, whatever you call it. I'm not a plumber or an HVAC guy. you know what it is. It's just some silver tape that you can wrap around here so I can seal this off better. But let's see if we can get this thing to work. So the thing I think is the coolest is apparently this is a magical box. So obviously this is a gas hot water heater, but this is an electrical box of some sort. And so my theory is, because I don't think there's any batteries in here, I could be totally wrong, but this is apparently, so as soon as I turn the gas on, this status light should start working. So I don't know if there's a turbine in here that starts to move because of the force of the gas, or there is just truly a very, very long-lasting battery in there. Somebody can tell me in the comments what they think it is, or if you are an HVAC or plumber guy, make me look like an idiot and tell me how does that actually work, because obviously it needs electricity of some sort to function. So, and also go ahead and tell me. So this thing cost me like, you know, it was like 360 bucks. What did you last pay for your hot water heater to be installed in your house or apartment? Because I mean, at the end of the day, this wasn't a very hard job, and I found a very cheap hot water heater at an overstock place. So what did you pay your plumber or HVAC guy last time to do such a project? Because I guess you could say I landlorded this to the extreme, but at the end of the day, it is a good hot water heater, and I'm not being a jerk and making my tenant wait an entire week to get a hot water heater, because I could have tried to search the country for that one part and then replaced it and then found out, well, that didn't work at all. So hopefully this is just the quick fix that I need, and this thing will last me several years. All right. Well, even with the kink, we don't have any water pouring out, so that's a plus. Not even a drip so far. So she's filling up, and then let's get this one on here, and this one on here. Which way does that go? Ooh, there we go. Look at that, we have fire. So I have him running the water, so I know that all the water is actually coming out of the hot, so it's flowing through the tank properly. So now we're lighting the pilot light. Just like I said, that blue light turned on. I'm just so curious as how that works. It's amazing. It's not plugged in or anything, so something inside of here does something. All right, so now we set it to its temperature, and we're good. I'm gonna come back and get some tape for that vent over there, but otherwise, I mean, this was a pretty simple fix, pretty cheap at the end of the day too. And everything seems to be working the way it should. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. Let's go. That is super hot. Holy cow. Awesome. So this thing is pretty old, so this might need replaced, but this is the only one that doesn't work at all. And one of two things happens. Either there ended up being an airlock when I turned the thing on in the pipes, or honestly, I think what happened was all the sediment from the pipes might have clogged this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to replace this. You can get one of these pretty cheap online, and then I'll just plug it in and see if it works, because underneath, when I actually undo the hose, water starts coming out. So basically the clog is somewhere in here, and I'm guessing it's the sediment. These things get clogged up real easy. All right, so it is exactly what I thought. It's just clogged up. So I still might replace this at least down the road because it's old and gnarly, but that's all I did is I pushed up on this where all the buildup was, and it worked. All right, we're done. Finally got it. So all in all, not the end of the world. Just kind of time consuming, going back and forth, getting parts, etc. But I mean, for a $400 fix, actually less, I'll take it versus whatever it would have cost. Like I said, if you've had a hot water heater done recently, I want to know how much it costs you to put those things in, because some of them are super easy to put in. I've put in electrical hot water heaters before, but I've actually never put in a gas one. But everything is buttoned up. I went back and I didn't videotape it, but I made sure all of my fittings had that pipe dope on it, made sure that they were nice and tight. And then, like I said, the only thing I need to go back and do is really go get better water hoses so they're not all kinked up like you see or saw earlier. And then I did go back and I got like a better fitting for that vent. so it wasn't just, you know, taped together. I did put tape on it and held it together, but I actually got a coupler that went over it a lot better than what was actually there before. So cheap fix, but worked out. At the end of the day, being a landlord, it has its perks, it has its downfalls, but I mean, honestly, I've had that building for a year now, and that is the first major repair. I've actually the only repair outside of a light fixture I had to replace because the wiring was bad on it. So not that big a deal. I mean, that one repair was less than 1 month of that guy's rent. So I feel like I'm still coming out ahead. So catch you next time. This isn't my typical video, but this is part of my business. If you're in the rental business or the dumpster business, drop me a comment. Let me know what other things you're doing, because as you can see, my business is literally just side hustles on side hustles. The shipping containers, the equipment rental, the dumpster rentals, and then the apartment rentals. If I can rent it, I'm trying to do it. So have a good one, everybody. Hope you like this video. Like, subscribe, follow, and I'll catch you in the next one.